Hey, John here. If you enjoyed that sweet picking lick, you can find a notation on my Patreon. Now, let's dive into a game-changing practice technique for alternate picking. Stick around if you want to level up your timing, speed, and synchronization. Alright, so here's the deal. We're going to play a full 3-note per string scale position, starting from the lowest pitch, all the way up to the highest. And then back down again. That's pretty simple, but here's the twist. We're putting a slight accent on each beat. So this little trick works wonders. The accent helps you to lock into the timing, making sure that your picking hand and fretting hand are perfectly synchronized. Now, we'll do this using 2 common subdivisions in rock and metal, 16th notes and sextuplets. Trust me, it's a big deal to master these subdivisions. And 16 notes is basically as 4 notes per beat, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then sextuplets or 16-note triplets is 6 notes per beat. So you'll notice when you start practicing this that to end up on a downbeat again on the starting note, whether that is the lowest note or the highest note, you're going to need to repeat the scale shapes 2 times for 16th notes and 3 times for the sextuplets. So this adds a layer of complexity since the accents won't fall on the same note each time. But that's also why this is such an effective exercise. So you really need to focus when you do this. So when you practice this, you always want to start with a downstroke because that's a natural way to hit the downbeat. And since we start from both ends of the scale, your picking will flip naturally. I've also prepared 5 different tempos for 16th notes and 5 different tempos for 16-note triplets. So it will help you learn this way quicker and you can really dial in your timing and your technique and sort of relax into it because you can have this confirmation of doing it correctly by having this backing track, which is basically a metronome and a hi-hat for the subdivision. So that's available on my Patreon as well. So you get these 5-minute practice tracks. So you can apply those to this practice routine that I'm going to cover in a second. Now, when you practice this, make sure that you don't overdo the accents. You don't want to see the accents, anything like that. You basically want to avoid anything that changes your technique. So a pro tip here, when I do this myself, I think of the accent as a mental cue. So in my mind's eye, I see the note on the beat light up. So remember, it's all about training your brain more so than the fingers. Before I show you the practice routine, I'm just going to demonstrate what this looks like starting from the lowest note with 16th notes. It's going to look like this. Now we're going to flip it around and we're going to start on the highest note instead, so it's going to sound like this. Now, we're gonna do the same thing, but do 6 notes per beat instead. So here's starting on the lowest note. And here's the one starting on the highest note. right, so if you're ready to put this into practice, here's your routine. So whatever scale you decide to work on, start with the lowest available scale shape. So if you do this using the C major scale, for example, you'll be starting here on F. So that's your scale shape. And then you would basically play the 16th notes from low to high. So you're going to do that. And then you're going to do the same thing again, starting on the highest note, still 16th notes. Then you move up to the next position. And do the same thing, but now you're gonna use 16th note triplets instead. So you're gonna do 6 notes per beat, starting on the lowest note, and then ending on the lowest note, and then starting on the highest note and ending on the highest note. And then you keep going like that. So you have 16ths for the next one, 16th note triplets, 16ths, and so on, until you've covered all the available positions on your fretboard. So don't stop here when you get up to the 12th fret or whatever. Keep going until you run out of space on your guitar. And then day 2, you flip them around again. So basically you do 16 note triplets from F, 16s from G, and so on. So you basically cover everything over 2 days. All right, so that's the whole routine. And obviously it doesn't really matter what scales you're playing. You can play whatever scales you want to play. You can change the key every day if you manage to go through everything like that, or every other day if you want to make sure that you cover everything with 16th notes and 16th note triplets. So don't overthink it, just try it out as I showed you, and if it feels overwhelming to do all the positions of any one scale now, just start where you're at. Just pick one 3-note per string scale position and work on that. So this is also a really good way of making sure you do actually know the shape you're working on, because these moving accents really makes it more challenging for your brain, which will make everything you do it with, it's gonna stick much better. So it has multiple uses here. It's not only gonna help your technique, it's gonna help your fretboard visualization and learning new shapes and all kind of different things. Give it a try. Practice this technique diligently and you'll see a noticeable improvement in your alternate picking. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and consider subscribing for more tips and techniques. And obviously, if you have any questions or need any type of clarifications, just let me know in the comments and I'll help you out as soon as possible. And if you're struggling with your overall synchronization, you might want to check out this video.